So today we're going to talk about God's grace. In Titus 2, Paul tells us that grace will teach you to deny all ungodliness and the lust of this world, and teach you to live righteously and soberly in this present day. The Strong's Concordance tells us that grace is the divine influence on your heart and its reflection in your life. Okay, so God pricks your heart, you listen to that prick, and you change your behavior based on that. Okay, that's your conscience. It's the free gift that God gives everybody. He pours His grace out on everybody. And if you obey that grace, that conviction, He will lead you into all righteousness. And Deuteronomy 6:25 tells us that it will be our righteousness to do His 10 commandments. So we become righteous by doing the 10 commandments. And if we follow our conscience, He's going to teach us how to do that better and better over time until we go and sin no more, as Yeshua told us to. So, because the church tells us that grace is unmerited favor, they don't teach you how to follow that conviction and how to pay attention to it so that you can obey it and become perfect as our Father in heaven is perfect. So, I can't speak for everybody, but I can speak for me, right? As I was waking up to the truth and getting grounded and rooted in the Word, I realized, right, God showed me that the way He speaks to me, the grace that He pours out on me, is felt to me as anxiety. So when I was about to say something that He didn't want me to say, or do something that He didn't want me to do, I would start to get very anxious. All the classic signs, right? My heart would race, my stomach would knot up, I would struggle to breathe, I would start clamoring over my words, and I just became a bumbling mess. Because He's literally stopping me from being able to function in that moment and do the thing that He doesn't want me to do. Okay, so as I have gotten, as I realized that, right, as that feeling would start to creep up, I would about face and stop and change directions entirely. Oh, this thought popped into my head and I'm about to say this thing to, my husband. Let me shut up and shut my mouth and just stop talking. Or, I'm about to go somewhere or do something or reprimand my children, and I would get that tightness in my chest. I'm like, oh, hang on a second. Let me not do that. As you get better at listening to that and obeying that, it gets more gentle, right? So now I don't get that anxious feeling because I can meditate on His Word during the day and think about my behavior and ways that I need to correct my behavior in general so that I'm not going to necessarily be making those huge mistakes anymore. Now it's little things in my thinking that I need to tweak, or like, for example, I had a conversation with one of the elders at Straight as the Gate the other day, one of the elder men in the church who he was helping me sort out some doctrine, some scripture. And afterwards, God was pricking me to say, you spoke a little more than you should have in that conversation. And just, take it down a notch. Just remember not to step so close to that line. And this is something that I've had to then turn around and say, okay, to my kids, like, this is how you follow God's grace. This is how you obey God's grace. The world doesn't obey God's grace. They do despite unto the Spirit of grace. Okay, so this is God's Spirit that he pours out on all of us. And when we don't listen to it, when we ignore it and say, oh, well, it doesn't matter, I can do this thing, then he stops pouring it out on you eventually and will give you up to your own debased mind. You sear your heart with a hot iron. Okay, so if you don't listen to it, God will just turn his back. If you do listen to it, the more you listen to it, the more fine-tuned you get to the sound of God's voice going on in your head, and he's going to lead you to follow the 10 Commandments the way he wants you to. So, it might not be anxiety for everybody. And, I can't tell you what it's going to feel like for you when God pricks your heart. So you have to work out your salvation with fear and trembling. And this is a big part of it, is recognizing God's grace when he's talking to you and what he's saying to you and what he's telling you to do. And everything that you hear, that you feel like, right, okay, I think this is God, take it back to the Word. Take it back to his Word and see what the other examples are in his Word and how that woman in the scriptures handled that situation. And then God's grace is going to mimic those examples because there's nothing new under the sun. So, it was something that I realized we don't really spend a lot of time talking about or teaching on is how to listen to God's grace. And so I hope that this is edifying for people and that it becomes easier for you to hear him and to trust that it comes from God and to obey it, right? So that's where in Ephesians 2, when he says saved by grace through faith, right? You're saved by that conviction, having faith that it comes from God, and it's going to lead you into obedience. It's going to lead you into all righteousness.